Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chelsea and I love books. I always love reading books that have been recommended to me by other people. It just, I don't know what it is, but it just fuels me to like read it faster. Whereas if I'm picking it myself and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like it, I'll put it down. But knowing that someone whose taste I trust has recommended it, I'm like, well, obviously it's good, or it's going to get good. So that helps me like continue reading it. As you can probably already tell by the title of this video, I reached out to some of my favourite booktok mutuals and I asked them to recommend me some of their favourite books. I did give them the link to my fable, just so they could get like a gist of what I do and don't like. But I said that they could have complete control. It didn't have to be on my TBR. I mean, if it was, that was a big plus too. Okay, so the people that I reached out to were Olivia, Rachel, Tanwen and Shannon. I'll put their TikTok profiles here, and also when I talk about each book that they've recommended, I'm sure I would have edited it in there as well. Jump into Past Me with book number 1. Okay, so the first book of this video was picked by Rach. She is at rach.reads.xo on TikTok. I just really like her TikToks and I trust her opinion because I feel like we have a lot of the same tastes. I've seen so many videos of like her, say like top fantasy reads, and a lot of them I would have read and loved, and I'm like, oh, I need to like add the ones I haven't yet read then to my TBR because I think I'll love them. So I messaged her and I asked for a book, and she recommended A Requiem for Fallen Stars, and she said that it's one of her favourite fantasy books ever. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so that is just bloody brilliant. Let me read you the synopsis, it's easier if I do it here. My cat is going crazy. Okay, so it says, I'll probably like butcher the names, but it says Izakali? Let's just go with Lyra. Lyra does not clutch onto the jagged remnants of her past, she buries them deep beneath her skin. To feel is to give power to the past, to let grief and memory carve through her like a blade. But Lyra refuses to let them win. She will not let the sharpened wounds of men who call themselves nobles and kings cut deeper than they deserve. They cannot wound her, they cannot control her, and if they cannot control her, then freedom is hers to claim. Despite her feeling anything but free, when an unexpected opportunity arises, Lyra is thrust into the deadly entrance exams of an elite academy. I love academies. Where only nobility thrive, but first she must strike a blood wager with a capricious king, one that could win Lyra her freedom or cost her life if the exams don't kill her first. A world that rejects her, a forgotten journal that will redefine her, a band of dangerous wielders that hunt her, and then there is him, the one who found her, who should have been nothing more than a mentor, the person to unravel her. But Lyra is not here for love, she is here to win, and as the walls she has spent years fortifying begin to fracture, as truth after daunting truth break free, the world will come to understand. A girl who refuses to lose does not break, she erupts. No, like, it's ticking all my boxes. So it says it's a fast-paced, emotionally charged fantasy romance where power is a game, freedom comes at a price, and love is the most dangerous risk of it all. With unique trials, forgotten knowledge, and a heroine who refuses to break, this novel is perfect for fans of high-stake political intrigue. Yes. Slow burning tension, yes. Found family, yes. And the kind of sharp edge romance that lingers long after the final page. Yes, 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 yes. So this is by Hazel S. Wilkes, and it was published 3rd of June 2025, and it is 540 pages long. So I've downloaded it onto my Kindle as well. Can you see? And I saw while scrolling through. So this is book 1, but then on Kindle it's a book 1 of 2. So is it a duology, or does that just mean that only one is out? Oh, it just says a 2-book series. I'll probably have to like look into that properly. But when I was scrolling through, I saw that there was a glossary. Am I the only person that's really bad where I'll just like make up the pronunciations in my head until like they stick? I think I've done that before, and then I ended up listening to the audiobook for like the last part of the book, and I was like, I was so wrong. Like, so wrong for 90% of my made up pronunciations. It's now like 10 o'clock. I've been at work all day, and I think I just want to get comfy and cozy in bed. But it's not really the best angle. Can't lie. So I'm probably gonna get into bed, and I will come back to you in the morning when hopefully I'm like at least 100 or so pages in, because then I feel like I can have like a good opinion on the book. Okay, so I finally have an update for A Requiem for Fallen Stars. Is that what we're calling it? Yeah, A Requiem for Fallen Stars. So I'm 120 pages in, chapter 17, which is 24% into the book. And I just wanted to wait until I was like far enough in that I had actual like thoughts and feelings about the book so far. And I feel like this is a good chunk to be able to talk about the plot without it being too spoilery, because I feel like this is just the setup essentially. So we have our female main character Lyra, whose mother is killed by the king, and then she is sort of sent to live with one of the king's people's family, sort of thing. My memory is so bad. Until she is of age, and then she sort of gets put into training to become the king's nighttime entertainer, essentially, for himself and potentially for his guests. So very like dehumanizing, very degrading. Like it's quite disgusting, really. And you get a lot of her like thoughts and feelings as she's made to, you know, perform and entertain people. It doesn't go too much into detail about like the private stuff, but it's very like heavily insinuated, essentially. And then we have Gray, who is the son of the family that she was living with, which we will circle back to. And in this world, some people are born with magic. That I think it's sort of said that when a person goes through essentially like puberty, if they have magic, then then that's when their magic will manifest. Lyra doesn't have any magic. Gray has some form of magic, and he is going away to take part in trials to become a warrior, essentially, for the kingdom. I'm enjoying the setup, I'm enjoying the characters, so let me now just try and like sort through my thoughts. So, number one, I quite enjoy that, yes, some of the elements are obviously things that we've seen before in books because it's fantasy and you need those elements for it to be a fantasy book. But I kind of don't know where we're going. Like, you have the basic things, or you're like, well, obviously we need that for the plot and to get the plot moving. But I don't know like what the end goal is and what like the overarching plot of the series is going to be, which is quite exciting, because then obviously you're wanting to read because you're like, I don't know where it's going, in a sense. Number two, one thing that I can't work out, and if you've read this book, this is like, you'll probably laugh at me, but I'm just not picking it up. I can't work out if Lyra and Gray, it's supposed to be like a sibling relationship because they grow up together, because they're very, very, very close, and like Gray does everything that he can to like protect her, and they're very like bonded, essentially, like through their shared traumas of like growing up in the castle. Or is it the case of he's in love with her and she, like just the classic like Doom thing of he's in love with her, she only sees him as a best friend, and we're going to get like another character sometime soon that comes in, absolutely blows her away, and we're going to have that scenario. Or which I think possibly the most unlikely one is that they are supposed to be the love interests, because I'm not getting love interest energy from Grey, but I can't work out if it's supposed to be platonic or if there is like an underlying, I don't know, I can't tell. The thing I will say is that we're not getting a lot of what the world is like outside of the castle and the castle settings. Like I can't really see like what the world is in my mind outside of what we've learnt in the castle already. Like we don't really know much of like the politics of the world, but it could just be that we're gonna start learning it when Lyra is learning it. I feel like she's lived a very sheltered life, and only really knows like the castle. So maybe it's probably, now that I'm thinking about it, probably is quite purposeful so that we sort of learn, because we've just got to a part of the plot where they're leaving the castle setting and they're now like on a journey to the next part and like the next part of the book. So it could just be that we will, as the reader, get to learn what the outside world is like as Lyra gets to learn about it, which is a very cool way of not just info dumping everything, because I do really struggle if in like the first 70 to 100 pages it's just like bang 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 bang, because I'm like, I can't hold on to this. So if we do start to learn it as she learns it, extra points from me. But I am just wanting a little bit more of like what else is out there, like what are we rooting for, what are we hoping for, what are we fighting for. I'm excited, I'm enjoying it so far. I am coming to you from my sick bed. Oh, it's just not good, guys. Really, I should have more shame coming on looking like this, but I am 80% into this book. I was at like I think I got to like the 50 to 60% mark, and I was like, yeah, like decent, like it's a decent book, probably gonna be like a 4-star, like decent, but like it's like creeping up, like definitely edging more and more towards 4.5. Now that I'm like, well, the from like 60% onwards, the rating has just gone up and up and up. Some of the quotes in this book, obviously I'm not going to give anything away, but it is also like a romantasy, so we do know that there is going to be some sort of romance in there. So in chapter 36 I highlighted, she would have really liked you. Heated rivalry, if you know you know. And then in chapter 43, I love this trope, plot device, personality trait of an MMC. Give me a list, he murmurs, and I will make every single person who's harmed you pay with their life. I just love the thing of, I'm grumpy and I hate everyone, but I don't know why, but I just want to kill everyone that looks at you. Like, I love that, I love that, I love that. And then, thank you for reminding me there are still people worth feeling for. Like, are you kidding me? I feel like this is really close. One of my many pet peeves with books is, you know, like when I'm gonna try and talk about something that just happened in this book without like fully spoiling it, but I really appreciate it. So basically, an attack has happened, and they're like gearing up, you know, to fight this attack. And there are certain people that don't have as much, what's the word, like experience with fighting and stuff like that. And so they've just been asked to stay behind. They were like, look, I know that this is probably not something that you want to hear, but please can you just stay here and stay safe because you're not ready for this. And for once, the person just went, you know what, you're actually so correct, and it would be so much safer for me and for everyone else if I stayed behind. And I just love that, because normally that's when they're just like, oh my, like, you can't keep me locked up, you blah, 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 blah. Sometimes that's the safest option. If you don't know how to fight, if you're new to this, that is the safest and only option. So that's earned points in my book. I've literally got 8% left, so I'm gonna go. Okay, so I finished A Requiem for Fallen Stars, and I think I'm settling on like a 4 to a 4.25 stars. I really, really did enjoy it, and I liked that. Yes, even in like a romantasy, obviously you have the tropes that you're always gonna get, but oh my god, I can't speak. Plot line wise, I was never fully like aware of where it was going next, like the actual like overarching plot that's gonna like follow on the series sort of thing. So I really enjoyed that. I also like where it ended off. I don't think book 2 is out yet. But it felt like an okay cliffhanger to leave it on, where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can pause that now and come back to it. But, you know, like sometimes you have a cliffhanger where you're just like, no, there's more to this book. This should be in this book, not the next book. So that felt good. I liked that feeling of not being like, oh my god. What else did I want to say about that book? Some of the quotes between the main male character and the female main character, I think objectively you might be a bit like, oh, that's a bit cringe, or like, how are you feeling that already, or how are you saying that already? I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a way that the author wrote them into the story, or if it was just the way that the story was built up. It all just felt so like perfect in a way, like it just felt perfect to the story. I'm trying to think of something now that he said off the top of my head, which obviously is not going to be possible. Out of context, you'd probably be like, that's a bit cringy, but it was just the way that it was put into the book and the way that it was said. I was like, I love this. And it was like the right level of giggling and like being giddy and being like, oh, they're so cute, like, ah. So all around, like, really perfect, really solid romantasy, like the really solid romantasy. I just think I need the plot to be able to stand up without the romance. That's what I'm learning is like my biggest thing when it comes now to like fantasy books and, well, more so romantasy books. I need that fantasy plot to hold up without the romance, and I think this gets my tick of approval, because even if there hadn't been anything between our main characters in this book, the plot that was happening around that, I was really eager to like find out what was going on. And then the chemistry between our main characters was just like the cherry on the top of the cake. So I'm very, very happy with Rachel's recommendation for me. Really enjoyed that. Wasn't one that was on my radar, I don't think. Like, I don't remember seeing it or hearing about it. So I'm happy that she recommended me this one and that I enjoyed it so much. That was so good. The second book in this video, I messaged Olivia, and Olivia said, I've just had a look at your fable and can see you have Sunday Morning by Jewel E. Ann on your want to read, and I love that book. I think it's such an underrated romance book, so I would definitely recommend that one. It's one of my faves. So I am currently reading Sunday Morning by Jewel E. Ann, another one that's on Kindle Unlimited. So that's 2 books in this video now that have been on Kindle Unlimited, which I love when that happens, because it feels like it justifies having a Kindle Unlimited subscription. So both of the books so far have been on Kindle Unlimited. So Sunday Morning follows a preacher's daughter who lives in like this small town. She has like the perfect life. the perfect boyfriend, and everyone's like they're definitely going to get married. They're basically just like the perfect couple. And she's just turning 18, so it's like a pivotal time in her life, and she's sort of struggling to come to terms with like being so like guarded and what's the word, sheltered, is that the word, raised in like bubble wrap by her parents, obviously through like the lens of religion and stuff like that, and having like conflicting feelings and emotions in knowing what you're taught is right, religion wise, and what you actually feel. She doesn't. Benson, I'm vlogging right now. She doesn't want to follow the route that her parents want her to follow, you know, like just a stereotypical like go to college, get married, be a housewife. And so her and her current boyfriend are under the agreement essentially that when they go off to college or whatever they do next, they will just sort of like let their relationship fizzle out because they both want like different things, except you sort of start to realize actually that maybe he wants to go off and do what he wants to do, and then have her like be waiting for her when he comes back. And then in enters his older brother, bad boy older brother, that was sent away, served for 6 years in the army, and there is just instant connection there. I started this immediately after finishing the last book when I was ill in bed, and I didn't go to sleep until I was already 40% into the book, because straight away the chemistry and what was going on was just so interesting. I was like, I have to find out what is happening next. I think when I was reading the blurb, it says it's like the modern day mix of Footloose and A Star Is Born, and I 100% agree with that. As I'm reading it, I can see like the kind of cheesy but really good and exciting like romance film that this could be. Like, I think like The Longest Ride, that sort of vibe, and just like I just love it. I'm really, really enjoying it. Thing that I will say about this book, that there were some like scenes and lines where I was a bit like it cringed me out a little bit, like a tiny bit. But I think overall it works well for this story. I do think if you hate like the repetitiveness of like the argument of like right and wrong when it comes to religion and those sorts of conversations, you will have a hard time with this, because like a big chunk of the book is her just constantly being like, I shouldn't be doing this, it's like it's a sin, and then doing it anyway and like making it worse. So if you're not a fan of the kind of like female main character that is like, I can't do this, I shouldn't be doing this is bad, and then like does it anyway, and then is like, oh my god, this is so bad, I can't be doing this, and then does it again, like that is very much like what this plot is. And yeah, that very much is like what our female main character is like, and like what she's going through. But I just think when you like come to terms with that, it does make sense to the story, and you have to keep reminding yourself that she's like a young 18, you know, like very sheltered, so like a very like immature 18. But I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I have read it in like literally 2 days, I think it's been. Yeah, it's just been really incredible, really fun, and it's one of those where I I can see it as a film in my mind already. I feel like this is it's one of those ones where it'd probably work just as well, if not better, as a film. So yeah, and I just love the way that he talks about her, and the way that he loves her, and the way that he sees her. I just love it so much. as a spoiler, but I just realised like my favourite quote in this book. So, obviously she's the pastor's daughter, and he calls her Sunday morning, which like at first you're like, really? Obviously it's like a nod to church and whatnot. But then there's a quote, so we don't get Isaac's point of view, I don't think, until like later on in the book. And there's a quote where it's like, he can have everything, he can have this, he can have that, he can have all 6 days of the week. All I want is Sunday morning. Like, that's just so romantic. Oh, it's very much like the heart wants what it wants. Selena Gomez vibes. It is just making me feel like just so happy and like giddy inside. It really reminds me of that era of like the Nicholas Sparks books, you know, like when they are getting made into films, like that era of films, and like it's really messy and there's so much going on. She's just a girl with a dream. She's just a girl with a dream. But yeah, I'm really enjoying another one that I really enjoy. And this one has been on my want to read list for a really long time. But it's one of those ways, you know, when you're just like never fully in the mood. So it really is a blessing actually, because I don't think I would have read this one if it wasn't for Olivia being like, you have to read this one. And I have really enjoyed it. As she said, underrated. I'm surprised that more people are not talking about this one, especially with like the rise of like the whole say like cowboy romance. It's not like there's a ranch involved and like rodeos involved and stuff like that. But it's more just sort of like what I would assume is like more like southern culture in, maybe I say as an uneducated English person on like American things. But you know, like that whole like the cowboy hat, and she wants to be a singer in Nashville. I'm just surprised that it's not spoken about more with the rise of like that being popular. And I feel like so many people as well are reaching for things that are like romances and are like silly and like a good time. But there's more to this. There's a depth. Like she's really struggling with her choices and her life and her God and her religion. So I think that just sort of like adds so much to the story. It's not just like boy meets girl, they fall in love and then smut, you know? Bored. I want you. He pressed his hand to his chest, clawing at it. I feel it so damn deep in my heart, nothing else matters. And if that's selfish, then I'm guilty. If you need me to take the blame for everything that's happened, I'll bear the burden. I'll take everything as long as that includes you. I love this man. Okay, so where's my Kindle? Here. I'm sitting on it. Yesterday I finished, what was it? Sunday morning. I think I ended up rating it like a 3.75 to 4 stars. I really enjoyed it while I was reading it, and it was fun and it was a good time. But I just don't think that it'll be one that will stick with me forever. But I did really enjoy it, and I would recommend it to people that it really felt like the Nicholas Sparks era of romance. That's what it felt like to me. I really enjoyed that, and I would definitely watch it if it came out as a film. Like that, yeah. The ending felt really abrupt to me. Like, I don't know, I was like, oh, we're done? Okay, that's fine. We spent so long like building up to the end of the book, and then you get to the end and it was just like over in like a chapter or two. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I immediately went into the next book of the video. So for the next book, I messaged Dev Reads on TikTok, obviously, because this is my favourite booktoker's this video is my favourite booktoker's recommendations. And she recommended Maestro by Auden Dar, if that's how you pronounce it. So I started this last night, again, on Kindle Unlimited. So that's 3 books now in this video that have all been on Kindle Unlimited. The front says, he was a master at breaking my heart. I got, how far in did I get to this? I got 61% into this yesterday. From the moment that I picked it up, I was just like, what the hell is in this? Like, what the hell is going on? If you've read The Favourites, it's given me like that level of anxiety. I'm literally like, I felt really uncomfortable yesterday. I cried like 4 or 5 times because I just felt so like gutted for them and like for everything that was happening in this story. Like in the end last night I was like, right, I just have to stop reading now because I'm actually like just in so much pain for them, and I feel a bit like tearful now thinking about it and like thinking about what is going on in this book. And what's really funny is I think like the blurb of it for some reason was putting me off. I don't know what it was about the blurb, but I was just like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be my thing. And then as soon as I got into it, I was like, oh my God, no, because I love that, like, it's really weird, but I love, like, the anxiety of, like, a toxic book, or, like, a book where, like, a lot of things are going wrong and you're reading it being like, why would you do this? Why? And, like, they keep doing stupid things, but you're like, oh, I just have to keep reading to find out, like, what's going on. Okay, yeah. Just started reading it. Ugh. Okay, you have Aurelia, who sort of lives in like a dysfunctional family setup. So basically her mum is a single mum and she was having an affair, and that ended like that. Oh my God, why can't I speak? And that's how Aurelia was brought into the world. She has a relationship with her father, but he's still married to the woman that he was always married to. And like he has lots of money, but he gives like the bare minimum to her mum. So her mum's always working like really hard, and she wants to be a cellist. Is that how you say it? She plays a cello, like the guy from High School Musical. It's like a giant violin. And she's auditioning for LaGuardia, which is like a really big music school in New York. And on her audition day, she meets Chad, and they have this conversation. He's just like very confident. I think at this stage they're like 12, 13, but he's just like a very confident boy. Obviously comes from like a very affluent family, and they start talking about music and like their love for music, and they basically just realise then and there that they are going to be friends for a long time and that they have a lot of things in common. So then you just follow them along through the years of like this really, really intense friendship, and it just feels very one-sided for a very, very long time, and you're basically just waiting for it all to, I feel like you're just waiting for it to all to explode, basically, because they're so close as friends, but obviously she fancies him, wants a bit more, and you don't get his point of view, so you don't ever really know like where his head is at, but we start getting his point of view towards that, like this part of the book. We've started getting chapters in his point of view. It actually, like, it's just knocking me for six. I felt so sick reading it last night, but in a good way. Like every time that you think you know where it's going, you don't. Like, Okay, so I finished Maestro yesterday, and I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I will tell you those thoughts and feelings later because I do actually have to go to work, so I don't have a lot of time. So the fourth and final book in this video was picked by Tanwen. She gave me a couple of options, but one that I've heard of before that I was interested in reading is Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. This one is not on Kindle Unlimited, so I did have to buy this one, which it would have been cool if it was, because then all of the books in this video would have been on Kindle Unlimited, but hey ho. 3 out of 4 isn't bad. I started this last night. I'm already... How far into it am I? I'm 50% into it already. So it's like a small town romance, but with a mystery element. So we have our main female character, Winslow, who is moving into this small town because she's just been made the chief of the police department. And then we have Griff, who is sort of like the golden boy of the town because the family that, like his family, have basically always lived in that town and are just very like famous. You know, one of those towns where they have the family, that's him. And they sort of strike up a connection, I guess you would say. But literally on her like second day of the job, a body is found, and so she's trying to investigate why this has happened basically, and sort of like settle into the small town because obviously she's like the outsider. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. What I will say, writing style is just so like easy to get into. If you just want something that's like really interesting but fun, definitely pick this one up. I'm surprised at how quickly I'm like flying through it. I have been listening to the audiobook on and off today, just because I am like really intrigued as to like where it's going. Obviously, I think the romance is okay and the characters are good, and I'm excited for that. But I do like the added like mystery element because I feel like sometimes with romances it's just sort of a little bit like, well, obviously they're gonna get together. So I like that there's a bit of added like, well, even if they are together, there's still something that we're trying to figure out. So that is interesting. Okay, so I have now, in fact, finished all 4 of the books recommended to me, and I feel like all of them were bangers in their own way. Like, I'm just so happy with how this turned out, like, because I was then starting to feel the pressure of, oh my god, what if I have to turn around now and be like, I didn't like this book that you recommended for me. It's my fault, I have bad taste, obviously, but no, I enjoyed all of them. But I did say that I would come back to you with my thoughts on Maestro. Oh my god, that book was an emotional roller coaster, literally from start to finish, and it was the same high that I got when reading The Favourites. I actually had been like craving that sort of feeling for a long time. I remember when I picked up The Favourites, I was like, I can't put this down because what actual hell was going on. Same for me with my show. I'm not normally a big fan of like friends to lovers or like insta love or lust, which I feel like this had all of those things, but it just worked so well with this story. I think a 4.5 star. I think, could it be a 5? I don't like, it's one of those where I just had such a good time reading it, but also such a bad time reading it because I was just like, oh, like actually coming out in hives of like stress. And if you haven't read that book yet, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. And finally, in this video, I read Indigo Ridge by Devoney Perry, my first Devoney Perry. Is it like the Eden series? I really enjoyed that as well. Like, that really took me by surprise. I think, as I said in one of my previous clips, romances can feel sort of predictable because obviously you know that they're getting together. Unless obviously it's like one that doesn't have a happily ever after, but 9 times out of 10 they do. So you already know that. You're just like waiting, you're just seeing it play out. There's no like real stakes, especially in like just very like contemporary romances. But because this had the murder mystery element, you were like, yeah, the romance is great, and I did really end up loving the couple and what they went through and how they treated each other and the space that they gave each other and the way that they communicated. But the mystery element as well, I was just like, I need to know. We got a little bit lost in the middle where I was like, it hasn't been mentioned in a while, but I do care actually about this case. Like, I need to know what's going on. So take the job seriously, please, and update me. But I loved it all. And like, as like the penny dropped, the domino started falling, whatever metaphor, I don't even know, that you'd want to use to describe it. I was like, oh my, like, you think you know. And it was just, I really enjoyed it. It was incredible. So thank you again to the girls for recommending those books for me. I literally had so much fun reading all of them, and none of them were really that high up on my radar. So I'm glad, basically, that I did this video because I had a really good time reading all of them. If you made it this far into the video, because I know it's a long one, I really appreciate you. Let me know like what other reading vlogs you would like to see, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.